This video today is going to be a throwback from like a couple years ago when I did like a health series, and I did it for 8 weeks, and then I had a friend who just before she moved I interviewed her, and she had lost during COVID, she had lost a lot of weight and has been able to keep it off for a couple of years now. So I'm going to go through that video. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'll come back to you at the end and talk about it. So I've got a friend here. Is it okay if I say your name? Yeah. Leah, and she has been an inspiration to me, in the health department. I would say that. Recently getting her health back, and I thought we would ask her a few questions. You want to start out?
Well, so I guess just to share about myself and my health journey is, so I from being a young child on, I've had hypoglycemia, and that means your sugar drops too low. It's the opposite of being a diabetic. And I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I remember having episodes. And then IBS, they told me I had IBS. I had a lot of intestinal digestive problems, and went through testings and things like that. I remember high school type, maybe middle school. And so I went through all of that. And then around college, I started heavily gaining weight at that point and started being into, the overweight category to obese category, starting probably around 18 or 19. And then, my weight would kind of flux up and down, but I still never made it back into a healthy weight range. And then prior to having my daughter, I did paleo, and that took me about a year of exercising and doing that. And I lost about 50 pounds over the course of the year, which is not crazy fast. And so I did that, and then I got immediately pregnant. Like, I literally got to a healthy weight, and then I immediately got pregnant. And then probably just due to the hypoglycemia and just generally in my pregnancies, I tend to be nauseous, and I gained all the way back. And then, I had her, I lost, maybe about 30 pounds after her, but then I started steadily gaining it back. Like, after the year went by, and I started, I kept trying to do the things I was doing before while nursing, and I just started having a lot more issues with my sugar dropping too low, and I wasn't losing the weight, and then I started gaining it. And I think I had tried one of those weight loss competitions to help me stay motivated, and it just reversed. Like, I think I went from kind of losing weight to just reversing cycles and started gaining it. And that just got me frustrated. And so I just, at a certain point, you're like, well, if I'm going to gain weight, I'm going to eat the donuts and have my fun, because I'm not going to sit here and keep restricting myself and having episodes and not seeing the scale do what I want. And so then I got pregnant with my second child. And so that was maybe 2 years. I, again, sat around 180, 190, and then got pregnant with him. And after I had him, I was about 240 pounds. And I lost, I got back down to the 180, 190, just honestly breastfeeding and trying to eat healthy at that point. But again, I still am stuck. I'm only 5'2", so I was still stuck at that 180, 190 again. And again, I sat there for 2 years. So it's like I would lose weight the first year after having a baby, and then nothing. And so then I just sat there for 2 years, and then you just start eating junk again, because you're like, I'm trying all the things and nothing is working. And again, I have this thing that I'm combating of having my sugar go too low. My kid is waking me up at night to nurse, and then I'm hungry.
It's like the perfect storm.
It's like, it's like this cycle. And so I had a friend, and she was posting her side-by-sides and all these people sharing their story of how they got healthy. And I finally was like, okay, tell me what this is. And so she shared with me, she must have posted somebody nursing. And so I was like, okay, you got to tell me, because nobody's been able to help me while I'm nursing these kids, and I can't seem to wean him, and I'm just so frustrated. And so, she explained to me program, and then I still kind of tried to do things on my own for like 6 more months before I was like, okay, like let's just do it. I don't care. Like I just need to get down to a healthy weight. And so, the first thing I noticed about being on program was that my sleep was better, my energy was better, and I was able to still be nursing my kid, and I didn't have to exercise and do all these things. It was just walking, and so I was just super happy. And then I got sick, and so I probably had COVID actually before they had testing, and so that kind of month was a wash between being ill and getting back into it. And then over time, I probably between January and September, I managed to lose about 60 pounds. And then I didn't really know what to do at that point. I hadn't actually been at a healthy weight, minus that very brief window before I got pregnant. I had never been a healthy weight in my adult life. So it had been a long time. Oh, wow. And in addition, when I was, it was so short. Like it was such a short period of time. So I was kind of like, oh, I made it here. I don't even know what to do. And so then I was like, well, I guess I'll lose a little bit more weight. So overall, I lost about 65 pounds. And the thing that was super, I guess the things that I really enjoyed about it was the community, the accountability, how great I felt on program, and then having just a lot of the mental side of things addressed as well as the nutrition. So some things that are really important when you're trying to lose weight would be that motivation factor, of writing your whys down and going over them and having a why that is really deeply seated into why am I doing this? Because having that immediate gratification of having the sugar, having something that's not going to propel you to your goal, having that reminder of why it is you're doing what you're doing is going to help you reach your long-term goals. And I think that's a general goal setting mentality, but again, for me, having the accountability and the coaching factor helped that weekly reminder of like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like, because sometimes you don't care. Sometimes you don't care about your own health, and you don't want to make the choices you need to do for that long-term health. Because the thing that honestly made me really passionate about program and was such a relief to my burdens was that it starts out, it's sort of in what we call like our education piece of talking about it's not your fault. It's not your fault because your biology is wired for something different than your current living world. We don't move around as much as we used to. We have access to a lot of highly processed sugar foods. And and our brain, though, that's what we want, right? Like that's biologically what we want to have energy. But the fact that we don't move as much as we used to, and we don't have and we just have this abundance of food, healthy and unhealthy, and then you have the advertisement factor. So I really liked that was freeing, and then it also gave you a choice of like, this is how you combat that, but it's not your fault that you've gotten here. And so I do feel like it's taken that burden off of me of realizing like I'm not a failure, that I have been overweight and obese like for most of my adult life. Like that there are things biologically and mentally that are working against me. And I think especially with the hypoglycemia and realizing that I would eat out of fear that my sugar would drop and not necessarily out of hunger. And so that was always this cycle for me of, even after I've lost the weight and things like that, of realizing like I'm not actually hungry. I'm just afraid. If I'm a little bit hungry, I feel afraid, even though I'm not truly like I'm really hungry, like I have to eat something. It's just like, oh, I feel a little hungry. I need to eat something because I'm afraid my sugar is going to go too low. So that's something that was really big for me. And so that's what I love about your channel, that trying to create this community and accountability for yourself, I think are two major things that can help. And then another thing is always how you weigh and measure your progress can be in different ways. So we always say like, take pictures, take measurements, and take scales, because the scale will not always be your friend. And the other thing I wish I would have done, and I did do later in my weight loss journey phase, was journaling. I wish I would have done more journaling of, you mentioned about your joints and things like that, of seeing some of the health benefits that have happened over that time and the mental shifts that have happened over that time as a way to measure progress, working towards being healthier both mentally and physically, because they go hand in hand. Like, if you don't care about your mental health, then you're not going to care about your body's health and your weight health. So they go together. And having that connection, of realizing, when you're stressed or when you get overwhelmed or depressed, or how your emotions play into that factor of trying to comfort yourself with food in some way, is going to impact, and even if you stuck perfectly to your eating habits, the stress actually raises your cortisol levels, and it still makes it harder for you to lose weight. So sleep and stress play a huge part in losing weight, and in losing weight. And so the other thing that I think is interesting is losing weight is different than maintaining your weight, and what your body needs to do, because your body isn't necessarily designed to lose weight. Your body is always meant to keep you from starvation. And so it doesn't really have this key or factor in our time and age that we're in of like, oh, lose weight. No, it's always like, I'm trying to keep you from starving so we don't die. So it doesn't know your plans. It doesn't know your plans, and it doesn't necessarily having to turn those gears on is very, specific, and making sure you're not starving yourself either. So, do you have any questions for me?
Oh, you covered a lot. I guess, was there any like theme or motto or something that kept you going on the hard days, or?
Well, it would be, like I said, the why. And so sometimes so two things, I guess, would be, one, you have a choice to make, every couple hours, or sometimes every minute or something like that, of making that, of realizing if you've made a poor choice, of what did I learn from it, and not to beat yourself up about it, but that, what did I learn from that? So for an example, I say that I learned that I cannot have Panera bread around me because my kids didn't eat it, and I would eat it. You can't waste Panera bread. And so I also learned different lessons along the way of, over time, foods that used to taste good to you don't necessarily taste as good to you. Recently we've been to restaurants and I'm like, this is very salty or very fatty, or where's the vegetables, And so but that takes time, and that takes mistakes, and giving your body the proper nutrition through time, you'll start to notice the difference in your taste buds change. So the motto, I would say, is remembering your why. And for me, sometimes my why was wanting to be a healthy example for my kids, and wanting them to grow up healthy and not struggle with the health things that I did, and being able to have the tools to get them. Sometimes my why was that I want to have energy to keep up with them. I want to have energy to have fun with them. Sometimes my why was, I think about what I want from my spouse, and I want my spouse to be happy, whole, and living as best he can with the choices he can, into an old age. And I know that's what he would want for me. So sometimes I had to remind myself, outside of myself, of what my family would want, just like I would want for them. And so my kids are a huge why for me, of wanting to be healthy. And then for me to not have to have sugar highs and lows was a very good deterrent of getting that managed in a way that I don't experience it. So it does help me keep myself accountable, in the sense of, do I really want to eat that? So I found that I don't necessarily eat junk food that will do that, but I will try to eat more food than I need, or even I'm hungry for, that I will just eat because I'm stressed. And so sometimes I do it, sometimes I have to remind myself of the example, that health coaching has given me clients that I'm trying to help them be healthy, and I want to be accountable to them too. So I created a lot of accountability for myself for times that I don't care, because I'm not going to tell you every single day, every single moment I care about my health. I just want to care about whatever it is I want to put in my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Good. Yeah, I think I find that because I can't eat dairy or gluten, like was like feast or famine, like, oh, I have to eat now because I don't know if I'm gonna have food at this place I'm going, and that kind of mentally is not very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Like moving forward, do you think it's changed your outlook on life, or like for the future?
I think I'm getting more used to it now, but there was a lot of mental shifts that happen. I think one of the weirdest things is like you still see yourself for a long time as overweight, and so trying on clothes is weird, picking out clothes is weird, fitting into small spaces is weird. My outlook has changed in the sense of feeling like I do have the tools. I don't want to say the control, but the tools in my toolbox that I don't have to go back to that again, because I know what I need to do to maintain my weight, and I know what to do if I need to lose my weight again for whatever reason. And having that idea of like life happens, stress happens, and I think going back to that grace mindset of I think about if there was a tragedy or something, you know, sometimes people lose focus of their health even after they have all those things. So I think the outlook has given me hope, I guess. It's given me hope that I do have more control over my health than I previously did. So I would say that. I do feel like I have more control over my health than I did before. And it's given me the ideas of the things that I can do that I felt like were never in the cards for me, of feeling like I could go, you know, I could train for an athletic event or something like that, or I could do those things because I physically can do them now. And whereas before it felt like such a long distance to get there. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it just kind of reiterates like you have to heal the whole person, like not just change what you buy at the grocery store, right?
Yes. Yes, because I think caring is the biggest thing. Caring and accountability are some big keys.
Accountability, like as soon as I stopped doing weekly videos,
Yes.
so I think I'm gonna have to do that again.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, so here I am back again. I just edited the video with Leah, and I'm so glad I did. There's lots of good stuff in there. Hopefully you agree. So I came up with 6 little tips and reminders of what I learned from her. The first one is to have patience, that it takes time, and that kind of relates to having grace for yourself and not blaming yourself, and time to reprogram your mind. I know when I learned to declutter my house, it took quite a few months to a year to just get my thinking different than it had been for so many years. And she said that was the same with health too. And something I've known all along but maybe neglected a little bit was treating the whole person, psychologically and medically and health physically, I guess. And having a good reason is always helpful for any goal you're trying to make. And accountability is something I kind of have failed at. Sorry, there's a spider. Yeah, I think I would do really good with accountability, but I kind of haven't had the right person. So anyway, it gave me a lot to think about. I guess I'm a different person 2 years later. So hopefully this is helpful. Sorry I'm rambling on. I know it's a long video, but I thought it was worth sharing. Thank you so much, Leah. I think this health journey has changed her life so much that it made her think of possibilities that weren't even remotely on the table, kind of like she mentioned. And she's now living in an RV, traveling with her husband, working remote, and just exploring the US. And I think that's awesome. And hopefully maybe I'll do another update with her. I don't know. But anyway, she seems to be doing well, and I get to see her pretty soon. So anyway, take care. We will see you next week. Bye.